Charles M. Schwab constructed the historic Hotel Bethlehem. When work on Schwab's masterpiece started in earnest in 1921, teams worked non-stop to complete the project. The hotel had a number of ingenious extras, such as a shoe sheen, a barbershop, and a club room, which is akin to a contemporary fitness center. It even had a magnificent cigar shop where opulent goods like Demisco Corona cigars were sold. The building was regarded as one of the most exquisite in all of Bethlehem when it eventually made its appearance as the Hotel Bethlehem in 1922. Winston Churchill, Amelia Earhart, Shirley Temple, Muhammad Ali, Jack Nicklaus, the 14th Dalai Lama, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, President John F. Kennedy, and many more international leaders, celebrities, and athletes have all been hosted there throughout the years. Following Bethlehem Steel's demise, a group of local investors purchased it and gave it a thorough makeover in the late 90s. The hotel even features the friendly ghosts on their website, demonstrating how proud they are of their paranormal activity. The landlord, Mrs. Brong, the town guide, Francis Thomas, and the local singer, Mei Yoyi, who returns to sing in the lobby, are all still there. But those who want to see even more amazing views can get a room called the Room with a Boo, which is located on the 9th floor. Reports of orbs materializing, lamps flickering, wallpaper altering, and enigmatic reflections have been made by visitors. The former Carbon County Prison was used in service as a correctional facility from 1871 to 1995, holding over a century's worth of inmates and even acting as the site of some high-profile executions. The two-story jail has 72 rooms and 27 cells and 16 solitary confinement cells in the dungeon. The most infamous prisoners were those who belonged to the Irish-American secret society known as the Molly Maguires. On June 21, 1877, the group of coal workers were found guilty and given death sentences within the penitentiary. They were accused of assassinating their superiors because they were demanding better wages and working conditions. They would be hung in the gallows constructed inside jail. Before his hanging, one man proclaimed his innocence, rubbed his hand on the dirt floor, then pressed the hand onto the wall, saying, "This handprint will remain as proof of my innocence." After years of being washed and painted over, that handprint can still be seen in cell 17. Originally believed to be the print of Alexander Campbell, but with new research presented, it was confirmed to be that of Thomas Fisher. Colonel General Elon John Farnsworth, who led a disastrous attack following Pickett's failure and lost his own life, along with 65 of his men, is honored by the name of the house. The house's initial portion was constructed in 1810, and the brick structure was added in 1833. During the 3 days of fighting, the home provided cover for Confederate sharpshooters. It is said that one of them unintentionally shot Mary Virginia Jenny Wade, age 20, who was the sole civilian to perish in the fighting. The walls are riddled with almost 100 bullet holes. After the fight, the house was used as a hospital. 2 days later, Confederate Brigadier General Lewis Armistead, who commanded soldiers during Pickett's charge, would pass away in the Farnsworth house from a bullet wound. According to the owners, there are 16 ghosts in the house, each with a unique name and personality. Among the spirits are a boy of 8 years old, multiple soldiers, and a former midwife. About a 2.5-hour drive from Gettysburg, at 1208 12th Avenue in Altoona, Pennsylvania, is the Mishler Theatre, a Beaux-Arts art stage and movie theater. It was the first building of its sort designed specifically for theatrical purposes. The theater itself could seat nearly 2,000 people and is still considered an architectural feat to this day due to its state-of-the-art interior. It was created by local theater manager-owner Isaac Charles Mishler in February 1906, based on a design by Albert E. Westover. The theater hosted performances of many famous names in the entertainment industry at the time, including Harry Houdini, John Wayne, W.C. Fields, and Sarah Bernhardt, just to name a few. 1973 saw the theater's addition to the Register of Historic Places. The theater has drawn a lot of interest over the past few decades due to its purported hauntings, in addition to its historical relevance. For those interested in the paranormal, the location has grown in popularity as a haunted attraction. It attracts so much interest that the cable television program Ghost Hunters paid it a visit. There are rumors that its creator, Isaac Mishler, still roams throughout the theater. Isaac was allegedly observing a technical manager working on the stage lighting and is often seen strolling around the theater on the catwalk and near his office with a cigar in his mouth. Still open to the public, it has been the scene of other bizarre occurrences, such as a woman in white powdering her nose, according to witnesses. Both performers and attendees commonly talk about weird things happening. Philadelphia, the Betsy Ross House is a landmark believed to have been the residence of Betsy Ross, a seamstress and flag maker who is credited with sewing the first American flag. The residence is located on Arch Street in Philadelphia, a few blocks from Liberty Bell and Independence Hall. The house is one of the most visited tourist sites in Philadelphia. Tradition tells that General George Washington, Robert Morris, and Colonel George Ross visited Mrs. Ross in 1776. She convinced Washington to change the shape of the stars in a sketch of a flag he showed her from 6-pointed to 5. She demonstrated that it was easier to cut the shape of the 5-pointed star. Ross made flags for the Pennsylvania Navy during the time of the American Revolution and was an avid flag maker for over 50 years. The ghost of Betsy is rumored to be wandering the halls of this historic house. According to visitors, Ross frequently appears to be grieving in her former homestead, which may be related to her experience of losing a spouse and multiple children during her lifetime. In 1980, 2 security guards for the home got into an altercation and one of them ended up dying in the basement of the gift shop. Since then, visitors have claimed to hear disembodied voices coming from the area where the murder took place, and staff members have occasionally heard voices and rattles that cannot be identified. There's also a more sinister spirit about, one that led to a staff member being so frightened they climbed out a window onto a flagpole. The Gothic Revival skyscraper that Pitt Chancellor John G. Bowman commissioned in 1921 inspired local industries to donate steel, cement, elevators, glass, plumbing, and heating elements. Thousands of adults today still have the certificates they received as school children upon contributing 10 cents to buy a brick for the cathedral. They broke ground in 1926, first class was held in 31, and the exterior finished in 34. The landmark, listed in the National Register of Historic Places, functions as a primary classroom and administrative center of the university. The 535-foot-tall cathedral is the second tallest educational building in the world after the University of Moscow's main building. It is also the second tallest Gothic-styled building in the world, after the Woolworth Building in Manhattan. The Cathedral of Learning has several paranormal hotspots within. One of the most well-known haunted rooms is the early American room on the 3rd floor. Reports of moving objects moving on their own range from small items to large furniture pieces. A popular tale is that a cradle in the room has been seen rocking on its own. Unexplained cold spots have also been encountered in the room. Visitors have claimed to feel sudden gusts of wind alongside the cold spots. Elsewhere is a haunted ballroom. The Crogan Shenley Ballroom is said to be home to a shadowy apparition. Some say it is that of Mary Shenley, one of the room's namesakes. While she is most often seen in the ballroom, Mary's spectre has also been reported in an attached room. But Shenley's shadow isn't the only one you might see around the building. Shifting shadows have been reported throughout the cathedral's maze of long corridors. The world was altered when Eastern State first opened its doors more than 180 years ago. This was the world's first true penitentiary, a prison built to instill penitence, or genuine regret, in its inmates. It was renowned for its opulent architecture and severe discipline. The original goal was not to punish the inmates, but to reform them. The structure itself was a marvel of architecture, drawing tourists from all over the world. It was the first building to have central heating and running water, even before the White House. It was so groundbreaking that over 300 prisons all around the world adopted it as a model. Over its lengthy existence, it housed almost 85,000 people, including Slick Willie Sutton and Al Capone. Numerous publications ranked the prison, which closed in 1971, as one of the most haunted locations in the United States. It's a hotbed of extraterrestrial activity, according to the dozens of paranormal researchers that come here each year. Spooky encounters that tourists, employees, guards, and prisoners have corroborated with one another since the 1940s are arguably the most credible. Although no single ghost is thought to haunt Eastern State, many experiences have been reported, including one in which a locksmith claimed to have seen a row of spirits confined in the jail. It has appeared on MTV's Fear, Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters, and the Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures and Most Haunted Live. On Tuesday, October 19, 1926, the former Lawrence County home for the aged opened its doors, housing the impoverished and mentally ill as well. Hillview, located in Newcastle, was first run by the Snyder family, who employed 12 people. It soon grew overcrowded, as was the case with many asylums during that time. The residents would be referred to as inmates. The house was managed by Perry and Mary Snyder until 1944, when they were forced to resign because of suspected poor administration. Hundreds of people lived at Hillview Manor between 1926 and 2004. Numerous staff members and tenants committed suicide on the property, according to sources. A sizable portion of the dead are interred in unmarked graves at the cemetery on the premises. Ghost tours, as well as ghost hunters, frequently visit this location. TV shows such as Ghost Hunters, Ghost Asylum, and Ghost Adventures have all featured it. A variety of apparitions have been sighted by visitors, along with voices, footsteps being touched, doors slamming, and objects moving on their own. Folklore states that you would pass away quickly if you saw Jeffrey, a little child who looks to be around 6 or 7 years old. However, no deaths have been linked to Jeffrey as of yet. If you dare to enter the dwelling of a former patient named Mary Virginia, room 105 offers even more opportunity for paranormal contact. These are but a few of the incidents that continue to make haunted Hillview Manor one of the most haunted attractions. Devil's Den, a boulder-strewn hill rock formation on the southernmost end of Huck's Ridge and roughly 500 yards west of the hill known as Little Round Top, is one of the most well-known battlefield landmarks at Gettysburg. Often utilized as a firing platform by artillery and sharpshooters, this location witnessed the most intense fighting on July 2, 1863, the second day of the Gettysburg Battle. 1,800 Confederate deaths occurred there, compared to 800 Union casualties. According to local legend, during the early days of pioneer settlement, a massive snake, known as the Devil, was said to have lived in the gaps between the stones. Although tales differed, the reptile's dimensions ranged from 8 feet to 15 feet. A few hours after the action at Devil's Den stopped, several Confederates were sent to stay watch at night amid the stones while the fighting continued elsewhere. Many of them subsequently talked about the eerie, paranormal encounters they had throughout the vigil. This bouldered outcropping's beautiful and occasionally frightening surroundings, along with the devastation that occurred there, have led to many claims of hauntings in the years following the war. Numerous tourists claim to have heard gunshots and war drums, and they frequently see ghost images and hear tales of phantom soldiers. Some even say that objects will be taken from their hands by unseen powers. Pennhurst State School and Hospital, also known as Pennhurst Asylum, operated for most of the 20th century. Originally known as the Eastern Pennsylvania State Institution for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic, opened in 1908 to house mentally and physically disabled patients. It was isolated from the outside world and rapidly grew unmanageable and overcrowded. At the time, many social scientists felt people with intellectual disabilities should be removed from society and segregated into state institutions. It was built to accommodate 500 patients with disabilities. According to the Inquirer, there were 3,500 residents in 1957. A 1968 documentary by Channel 10 reporter Bill Baldini took viewers inside the walls of the now 60-year-old institution. The scenes, which included caged children and patients covered in feces, were more than chilling. This facility was later closed due to years of lawsuits and severe abuse of the mentally ill individuals kept there, but not before multiple fatalities that have left their marks on the structure. 10,600 patients called Pennhurst home, half would pass away there. Recorded activity includes strange noises, footsteps, whispers, seeing apparitions said to be the souls of former patients and staff, even reports of being touched by spirits, and a spirit who likes to lunge at men on the 3rd floor.